Hi there, I'm Tom Pepperkamp, a platform product owner. That's right, platforms should be treated as products. Platform engineering is a new and rapidly evolving field. To help you navigate this space, I've created a video series that dives into the why, what, and how of platform engineering. This series pulls together insights from top quality public resources, organizing them into focused topics to create a crash course in platform engineering. Each video is curated to support your platform engineering journey, offering practical knowledge and insights to deepen your understanding of its principles and potential. Let's get started. Throughout my talk, I'll be referencing content from leading voices in our industry. A big shout out to these rock stars for their amazing blogs and conference talks. You'll find all the sources listed at the end of the video. These references aren't just for ethics, they're packed with valuable insights that I highly recommend exploring. So, if you enjoy this video, definitely check them out and dive deeper. What if I told you that the very tools designed to simplify our work are actually making it more complex? Welcome to the paradox of modern ops. Today, we're going to explore why platform engineering is the natural evolution of DevOps. Now, I know what you're thinking. Evolution of DevOps. Is this going to be a history lesson? Well, sort of, but don't worry, I'll keep it interesting. Think of it as a fun trip down DevOps memory lane with some eye-openers along the way. Evolution is something I associate with slowness, really slow progress. So, hi platform engineering, what took you so long? And why is TicketOps still a thing? I recently watched the opening keynote of KubeCon 2017 again. What a speaker Kelsey Hightower is. If you're doing it right, no one should probably even know that you're using Kubernetes. Do not leak your implementation details into the developer workflow. Just two of the many insights from that talk. 2017, and yet today we still bother developers with YAML, or worse, tickets. But there's hope. Platform engineering is gaining momentum as a critical enabler for DevOps teams. I've dived into the traction around platform engineering and connected the dots for you to paint a clear picture of how and why DevOps has evolved into platform engineering. Since I mentioned DevOps many times throughout this video, let's start with a disclaimer. When I talk about DevOps, I'm referring to the mindset of ownership of the operational pipeline, the process of faster flow and feedback loops, the implementation of built-in automation and QA, and the enablement of teams to do everything they need related to their project, breaking down silos. To address the unicorn in the room, I'm not talking about DevOps engineers. Is there even such a thing as a DevOps engineer? The consultant in me would say, it depends. I think it's already hard for a two-pizza team to be full-stack knowledgeable, let alone a single engineer. As Viktor Farsic puts it, I do not believe there is such a thing as a DevOps engineer. If the whole point of DevOps is to enable communication and collaboration between people who work in development and those who work in operations, then what does a DevOps engineer do? That's just a different title for the same job. On the other hand, if a team or organization applies a DevOps mindset and amplifies that into a job title, why not? To quote the rabbi, played by Ben Kingsley, in the movie Lucky Number Slaven, the first time someone calls you a horse, you punch him on the nose. The second time someone calls you a horse, you call him a jerk. But the third time someone calls you a horse, well then, perhaps it's time to go shopping for a saddle. Just don't expect a horse to be a unicorn. If you have DevOps engineers toiling away in a DevOps team, you're not doing DevOps. And if you have a DevOps engineer job title yourself, don't worry, I'm not putting all the responsibility on your shoulders. We're all in this together. Hello again and welcome. So, Why has platform engineering been gaining so much traction lately? Let's dive into some key insights from industry leaders to understand this evolution. To begin, let's rewind to 2021, when ThoughtWorks published their opinionated guide to the technology landscape, Technology Radar, Volume 24. One of their standout themes in this twice-yearly snapshot of tools, techniques, platforms, languages, and frameworks. Platform teams drive speed to market. ThoughtWorks stated, "We consider platform engineering product teams to be a standard approach and a significant enabler of high-performing IT." Have you already adopted this proven platform engineering approach, or are you still considering it? In 2022, Gartner spotlighted platform engineering in their top 10 strategic technology trends for 2023. They noted platform engineering has emerged in response to the increasing cognitive load resulting from the complexity of modern software tools and architectures. We'll delve deeper into cognitive load shortly. Gartner noticed something interesting and warned us in the same forecast. Most enterprises will fail to scale DevOps initiatives without adopting shared self-service platform approaches. Fast forward to 2023. McKinsey isn't simply jumping on the platform bandwagon here. They might not have been the first to recognize the need for a standardized engineering approach to enable and empower developers to deliver software efficiently, but they did lead the platform blueprint troops. More on blueprints in my video about internal developer platforms, IDPs. We stay in 2023 as the State of DevOps report dubbed platform engineering the cool new kid in town. The report's subtitle, Platform Engineering Edition. According to the authors, platform engineering helps organizations realize the kinds of benefits that the DevOps movement has been aiming for all along. And in 2024, the State of DevOps report evolved further, titled The Evolution of Platform Engineering. If this trend continues, we'll have a State of Platform Ops report in 2025. What's driving this evolution? Let's revisit 2021, when the State of DevOps report noted many teams were unable to move from medium to high performers. They called this phenomenon stuck in the middle. Why do you think so many teams struggle to move from medium to high performance? Interestingly, Gartner's top 10 trends impacting infrastructure and operations for 2020 already listed scaling DevOps agility as the number 3 trend. They stated, by 2023, 90% of enterprises will fail to scale DevOps initiatives if they do not create a shared self-service platform. It's worth noting that Gartner didn't use the term platform engineering at this point. By 2024, the conversation had evolved. Manuel Pais, co-author of Team Topologies, delivered a talk titled Frozen DevOps, the not-so-technical last mile. Pais pointed to cognitive load as the root cause and proposed platform teams as the solution. Now, let's explore this concept of cognitive load further. At the PlatformCon 2023 conference, Charity Majors explained in her spot-on The Future of Ops is Platform Engineering talk why the ops landscape is shifting. Let's focus on this trend. Everybody writes code, runs the code they write. This sounds familiar, doesn't it? DevOps indeed. This aligns with the famous "you build it, you run it" DevOps mantra from Werner Vogels, Amazon CTO, in 2006. Over time, it evolved to "you build it, you own it." Ownership sounds great, but what does true ownership really mean? Alex Overlove, in his blog post You Build It, You Own It, defines true ownership as the intersection of responsibility, owning the outcome; mandate, authority to act; knowledge, skills to make informed decisions. This framework helps us understand where broken ownership occurs and why reducing cognitive load requires aligning responsibility, mandate, and knowledge. How well do teams in your organization align these three aspects? When one of these is missing, then broken ownership emerges, leading to anti-patterns. Let's explore some examples. Without responsibility, we get the broken DevOps scenario. Tossing the code over the metaphorical wall of confusion for the infrastructure team to run. I'm glad we've moved past that stage. Right? Without knowledge, we get the no-ops scenario. Those with mandate and responsibility can't make the right decisions or even understand their full responsibility. But even with textbook DevOps and a team that does understand their full you build it, you run it responsibilities, is it realistic to expect teams to be full stack knowledgeable? Today's DevOps ecosystem demands vast knowledge across development and operations. The complexity of this modern software development lifecycle often leads to tool sprawl and DIY platforms within teams. Meanwhile, Ops is just getting harder and harder. Can you already see the cognitive burden in this ecosystem example? How do we expect teams to innovate when navigating this sprawling complexity every day? To illustrate this further, Your Honor, I ask to admit Exhibit A into evidence. No further questions, Your Honor. This Dilbert comic humorously captures a common challenge in DevOps. Engineers end up building and managing their own platforms instead of focusing on product development. It highlights how the lack of a dedicated platform shifts attention away from delivering value to customers, increasing inefficiencies and cognitive load. Without a dedicated platform team, individual DevOps teams build their own platforms and pipelines, whether they know it or not. This decentralized setup turns every team into their own version of Dilbert. This fragmented approach distracts developers from solving business problems, decreasing velocity, leads to inefficiencies with overlapping tools, processes, and duplicated effort, increasing operational costs and risks, and increases cognitive load. As Paula Kennedy highlighted at PlatformCon 2022, the equation is simple. More tools plus more responsibilities results in more cognitive load. The cloud-native landscape degrades the developer experience due to the complexity of cloud-native technologies, fragmentation, the learning curve, hurdle, handling operational tasks, the web of dependencies, and staying on top of new developments. It all adds up to the cognitive load. More and more functions are also shifting left into the developer's remit, adding to their burden. At StackConf 2022 in Berlin, Hannah Foxwell showed us what happens if we're shifting left the wrong way. If DevOps is more pipe dream than pipeline and trust issues between dev and ops return, then even hashtag NoOps can get traction. And, less dramatically, in textbook DevOps settings, you build it, you run it, results in throwing complexity left. The harder things are to do that don't directly impact value to customers, the less likely they are prioritized. This ops work sinks to the bottom of the team's backlog. Let me share a personal anecdote. I have a hoodie that says, "If nothing goes right, shift left. It's a fun reminder of the importance of shifting left in our processes. But as we've seen, simply shifting everything left isn't the solution. We need to do it thoughtfully and strategically to avoid a shift left and nothing goes right. Then shift left becomes pile left. The whole idea of shift left is adding a task earlier in the software development process, aiming to shorten feedback loops and achieve an outcome working software earlier. Successfully shifting left requires more than just moving tasks earlier in the process. NoOps isn't the answer, nor is piling everything left. The old siloed way won't work either. How can we shift left effectively without burning out our teams? The key is how we organize teams around the different problem domains. Good fences make good neighbors, as Robert Frost wrote in his poem A Mending Wall. This idea applies to our teams as well. Clear boundaries and ownership are crucial. No delegation of work, but providing services to other teams instead. Now, the shift left is within the domain scopes with their own build, measure, learn feedback loops. But why is this so important? Because software that is too big for our heads works against organizational agility. This quote from the DevOps Enterprise Summit 2019 highlights the core challenge of modern software systems: cognitive load. Think about it. Have you ever felt like you're juggling too many tasks or can't oversee the full picture any longer and your brain is about to explode? That's cognitive overload. Team members might not say they're experiencing cognitive overload, but they often express it in other ways, like saying, "I have too much on my plate right now," or struggling to focus. Recognizing these signals is crucial. Matthew Skelton and Manuel Payés introduced team topologies to tackle this issue. Their approach emphasizes designing systems and teams to minimize cognitive load, enable agility, and focus on delivering value. As the authors of team topologies put it, it's all about a team-first approach to software boundaries. This is perhaps the most impactful slide in their Start with Team Cognitive Load presentation. Each service must be fully owned by a team with sufficient cognitive capacity to build and operate it. This sentence embodies the "you build it, you own it" mindset, and it addresses the cognitive load that comes with this DevOps approach. Imagine trying to solve a complex puzzle without having all the pieces. That's what it's like when teams don't have the cognitive capacity to handle their responsibilities. It's important to note that team topologies looks at cognitive load at the team level, not at the individual level. By ensuring that teams have the cognitive capacity to handle their responsibilities, we can create more effective and sustainable systems. And we're back at the 3 perspectives of true ownership. Looking at this timeline, can you imagine how overwhelming it must be for developers to keep up with all these increasing knowledge areas and responsibilities over the last 20 years? The cognitive load surely has risen tremendously. At DevOps Days 2022, Michael Cote presented a compelling perspective in his talk, The Eternal Recurrence of DevOps. He highlighted the bigger DevOps picture. We, as an industry, reinvent the application stack every 5 to 10 years. We're currently in the midst of rebuilding everything once again, largely due to Kubernetes resetting the infrastructure layer. This shift requires the creation of a new set of management tools and application development stacks. After all, Kubernetes is a platform for building platforms. So now we get to build the platforms. But who is we here? Kelsey Hightower nailed it when he tweeted, "Kubernetes allows you to declare your infrastructure concerns. The problem is, we ask developers to do all that." We've seen the challenges: cognitive overload, inefficiencies, and the struggle to keep up with the ever-evolving landscape of modern ops. It's like trying to swim upstream in a raging river, exhausting and futile. But what if there was a way to simplify this complexity? Imagine a world where developers have the tools and support they need at their fingertips, where they can focus on what they do best, building great products without being hindered by the operational burdens. This is the promise of platform engineering. So, how does platform engineering achieve this? Let's dive into the specifics and explore how it can transform the way we approach modern ops. Team Topologies goes beyond identifying the problem, it offers actionable guidance. Imagine trying to carry a load that's too heavy. Eventually you'll drop it. By aligning the scope of software systems with a team's cognitive capacity, we avoid overburdening teams and ensure they remain effective and autonomous. To reduce cognitive load, Team Topologies introduces 4 fundamental topologies, 3 of which are specifically designed to offload work from product teams, stream-aligned teams. Platform teams play a critical role as a backbone, easing the cognitive burden and ensuring stream-aligned teams can stay focused on delivering business outcomes. They simplify and bring increased efficiency to tasks previously assigned to DevOps teams. Team Topologies provides a mental model of well-defined concepts and a clear language, making it extremely suitable as a conversation starter. The shared vocabulary for describing teams and their interactions provides clarity of purpose for platform engineering teams. It's like building a modern-day Tower of Babel, but with everyone speaking the same language. As the authors of Team Topologies put it, platform engineering is a way of thinking and team of teams design. So, what is this way of thinking, this mindset? This quote encapsulates the essence of platform teams. Platform teams provide services that reduce cognitive load and accelerate stream-aligned teams to deliver work with substantial autonomy. It's an approach that focuses on enabling teams to work efficiently and autonomously within a team of teams design. It provides the foundation for scalable collaboration by reducing cognitive load, streamlining interactions, and aligning teams through shared platforms and standardized practices. Now, let's see what this transition from decentralized platforms to a centralized platform looks like. A dedicated platform team serves as the central hub, coordinating across critical functions such as security and compliance. This approach offers multiple benefits: reduced inter-team dependencies, streamlining workflows, cost optimization, as shared tools prevent redundancy, developer focus, freeing engineers to innovate and solve business challenges. In some ways, platform engineering simplifies the SDLC, software development lifecycle. By consolidating fragmented efforts, platform engineering not only drives operational efficiency, but also reduces cognitive load, clearing the way for DevOps teams to achieve their full value-creating potential. To truly reduce cognitive load, platforms must address the challenges their users, developers face. Effective platforms are more than standardized tools or infrastructure. They must provide real value to developers by solving their day-to-day problems. This is why platform teams must adopt a product mindset. It's not just about building technology, but creating a compelling product that developers want to use. Feedback loops, iterative improvements, and a focus on usability are key to this approach. We'll dive deeper into platform as a product in another episode. For now, remember, the success of a platform depends on how well it empowers developers to deliver with speed and confidence. To summarize, DevOps dismantled silos and transformed how we approach software development, increasing agility and easing collaboration. However, the cognitive load of managing all the complexity of modern ops introduced new challenges. Modern ops platforms like Kubernetes, are meant to abstract resource management. However, the opposite is true. Dozens of new tools and technologies are required to support them. When complexity reaches this level, as it has done in many technological advancements in the past, the solution pattern repeats. We have to abstract again. Platform engineering addresses the modern ops challenges by providing this crucial abstraction layer, simplifying the complexity and enabling DevOps to reach its full potential. Platform engineering teams are like internal operational services for DevOps teams. They design, architect, maintain, interconnect, and secure self-service platforms on which software is executed with all the resources developers need to deliver applications. The big difference between the wall of confusion in the silo ages and the good fences of platform engineering. Modern ops experts codify their knowledge, transform it into a service, and plug it into the platform so that everyone else can do it themselves instead of asking you to do things for them, ticket ops. They focus on managing those services rather than managing requests from people to do something. Far from being the death of DevOps, platform engineering represents its natural evolution. Platform engineering is what you get when you fully commit to the idea that software engineers should own their code in production. It's about the convergence of developers and ops, where, in the words of Charity Majors, everybody writes code and owns what they write. DevOps as it should be. Platform engineering doesn't replace DevOps, it amplifies it, no longer stuck in the middle. In conclusion, that cool new kid in town is here to stay. One more thing. There's an important aspect of true ownership that we haven't covered yet. We have seen how the DevOps mindset fixed responsibility by taking down the wall of confusion, and how a platform engineering way of thinking can fix the knowledge aspect by offloading the cognitive burden with good fences. But we haven't talked about another anti-pattern, the absence of a mandate. Without mandate, you can't drive any meaningful and impactful change. This mandate is essential to fully own your platform instead of only running it, to be able to treat your platform as a product. And it doesn't stop there. Mandate also implies a clear platform positioning in a broader teams of teams design. Don't forget this critical success factor. Thank you for watching. I hope you found this session insightful and engaging. If you like this video, why not share it with your peers? Feel free to reach out if you'd like to discuss platforms and platform engineering further. Oh, and by the way, did you know this entire presentation was narrated by an AI voice model based on my own voice? Pretty cool, right? I look forward to seeing you in other videos. Thank you for sticking around to the end. The remainder of this video contains an overview of all resources used. There's some great stuff out there, often with references to even more great stuff. Are you ready to go down this rabbit hole?